ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 17 verses 5 and 6. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapo janaha dambh ahankar sanyuktaha kamaraga balanvitaha karshayantah sharirastham bhutagramam chetasaha macha ev antah sharirastham tan vidhi asura nishchayan. Endowed with pride, false ego, lust, attachment and strength, they inflict pain upon the elements of their bodies and also upon me, who am situated within the heart of their hearts. They perform severe austerities not recommended in scripture and have faith in demonic forms of religiosity. So Shri Krishna is responding to Arjun's question regarding the faith of those who do not follow the injunctions of the scriptures but still perform austerities and penances but based on their own whimsical ideas. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the commentary on this verse states that Krishna said, O Arjun, you have asked about the status of those who discard the injunctions of scripture yet perform worship endowed with faith. Are such persons in the mode of goodness, passion or ignorance? So Arjun had asked this question in the first verse of this chapter. In the previous chapter, Krishna had concluded stating that those who do not follow the injunctions of the scriptures, they do not become liberated and suffer in hellish planets. But we see people who are not following the injunctions of the scriptures, but still they follow some fasting, they do many kind of penances and austerities. Then what happens to such people? Is their faith in mode of goodness, passion or ignorance? So Krishna is saying that now hear my reply in the two verses beginning from this one. So faith and renunciation of selfish desires also manifest in those who perform severe austerities characterized by unauthorized mantra, yajna and so forth, which create fear in living beings. So people perform all kind of different rituals, all kind of different fasts and austerities. And the ones who perform these not based on these spiritual injunctions as given in the scriptures, they perform these austerities based on their own whimsical ideas. And therefore, these rituals or austerities are not very pleasing either to themselves or to others. They actually create fear in living beings because many of these are very ferocious in nature. So those who are proud and egotistical will surely violate the rules of scripture. So here Krishna says, who are the people who do not follow the injunctions of the scriptures, ashastra vihitam? So these are individuals who suffer from dambha. Dambha means pride and false ego. They think themselves to be the all in all, the Ishwaras, because of their power, because of their wealth, because of their status in the society. They have the false ego that I am the creator of my own destiny. So therefore they have desires. Here Krishna uses the word Kam, and Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that Kam refers to desires such as the desire for eternal youthfulness, immortality and kingdom. So many demons in the past, like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, performed severe austerities because they wanted to become immortal. They wanted to have a kingdom as large as this universe and never wanted to become old. So, because of that, they performed severe austerities. So, in their performance, also there was some sacrifice. So, they had to give up their desires for that period when they were performing austerities. But even that giving up of the desires to perform austerities was to get more material benefit, much greater kingdom, long life, almost immortality, and no old age or disease. So their austerities were not for the purpose of liberation. Then Krishna says, Rag, they also perform these austerities because they are simply attached to performing austerities. And Bala means the capacity to perform austerities, like Hiranyakashipu and Ravan. No ordinary person can perform the severe austerities like what Ravan and Hiranyakashipu did. Hiranyakashipu performed very severe penances and austerities for 60,000 years without eating, sleeping, standing on one leg. And ultimately he was able to please Lord Brahma. So this requires a lot of strength, requires a very strong determination, which we don't see in ordinary people. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that from the very beginning of the performance of austerity, such persons torture the Bhutagramam, meaning the group of elements such as earth which constitute the body. So they give pain to themselves because they are performing austerities which are very, very harmful for the physical body. They're also giving pain at the same time to the Supreme Lord who is residing in the form of Paramatma as his partial expansion within the heart of the living entity. Why? Because the mood of performing the austerities is not anukul, it's not favorable towards the Lord, it is unfavorable. So even though they are performing austerities, they are not pleasing the Supreme Lord. The definition of bhakti or devotion is anukulyan Krishna anushilanam, that the activity should be performed with a favorable mood to please Sri Krishna. So in fact, their austerities don't please him but give pain to him. Srila Gurudev explains this further in the commentary, stating that here Sri Krishna is telling Arjun that those who disregard scripture and perform severe austerities such as fasting to fulfill their material desires are not included among those who perform the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic activities, meaning activities in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, as he had explained in the previous verses. So such people are in fact very unfortunate. Being influenced by the association of pretenders, they perform severe austerities that intimidate common people and that are not recommended in scripture. So we see especially those who do black magic, those who worship ghosts and spirits. They also perform austerities and do different kind of rituals which are very intimidating. People get scared looking at these kind of rituals. So these are not even recommended in scripture. So because they are doing things which are not as per the scriptural injunctions, they don't really get any real benefit from these unauthorized rituals or austerities, neither are they pleasing to the common men or the Supreme Lord. Austerities such as worthless, painful fasts offering in sacrifice one's bodily flesh, a human being or an animal, and performing other such violent acts cause pain to one's self and also to Paramatma. So again, they're giving, of course, pain to their own physical body, but when they give in sacrifice an animal and even human beings, this is very unfortunate that even in today's day and age, where people are supposed to be educated, we see so many times sacrifices of young children are being done because that particular person wants to fulfill some of his material desires. Very, very unfortunate. And this is the most sinful act. To kill anyone is sinful. And to kill them like this is even more sinful, because this is not at all according to the scriptures. The Supreme Lord loves each and every one of His children. All of us are His part and parcel. He is a Supreme Father, He is a Supreme Mother, and we are all His children. So when any one of His child is killed mercilessly like this, it gives Him a lot of pain. So such people whose natures are cruel should be considered demoniac. Srila Gurudev explains further that in current times some people observe fasts that are not recommended in scripture out of some selfish or political interest. The scripture's provision for fasting is solely to facilitate the attainment of the transcendental goal. So see, fasting is a process, but for which goal that process is being followed, that determines if the process itself is right or wrong. So the process of fasting is undertaken by many for their own ulterior motives. For example, if they belong to a political party or some specific special interest group, they want to get their agenda agreed upon. Now, we are not commenting here whether that agenda is right or wrong, but for such purposes, they will go on indefinite fast. And this forces the other party, many times, the party that is in power, to come to the negotiating table. So there may be some benefit to this, but at the same time, the process of fasting itself is recommended in the scriptures not for any material purposes but only for transcendental purpose of realizing that I am not the physical body, that I am the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. So the process has a specific purpose, but when it is used for a different purpose, then it does not yield its true results. People will still get some results. So many times someone who for political interest goes on indefinite fast may be able to get his agenda approved or gain some political points, but he is not getting the real benefit of that fast. So on Ekadashi, for example, we fast, right? So on Ekadashi, one can fast from everything, even from water, and remain awake throughout the night. So you can either on Ekadashi, main thing is to refrain from eating beans and grains and certain other things. But if someone wants, they can try and fast completely even from water. This is called Nirjala Upavas, and remain awake throughout the night performing Hari Kirtan. Such a fast is not for political or social purposes. So the thing is, the word Upavas, which is the Sanskrit word for fasting, means being close or living close to the Supreme. Up means close, Vas means to live, close to the Supreme Lord. So, when such fasting is performed for political purposes, then one certainly does not get any close to the Lord, because he did not fast for that purpose in the first place. So Shri Gurudev says, but nowadays people stay awake at night and eat flesh, drink wine, and sing vulgar and contemptible songs. In this way, they violate the rules of scripture. So sometimes it's also, we have seen that people during the daytime will fake as if they are fasting, but behind the scenes they are also indulging in all kind of abominable practices and just fooling common ordinary people. Now, such activity is not included within the three types of Shraddha or faith: the faith in the mode of goodness, faith in mode of passion, or faith in mode of goodness. And such activity simply gives suffering. It does not benefit anyone. In fact, such activities are performed out of pride, ego, lust, and excessive attachment to material sense enjoyment. So, as Krishna is stating in this verse, that those who think themselves to be the supreme out of that false pride and ego, and their intense lust, desire to enjoy material sense gratification, they actually undertake such severe austerities and penances. So, one who performs such austerity causes unnecessary pain to the body and disturb one's inner peace as well as the peace of others. Sometimes persons even die from performing these fanatical fasts. While wandering repeatedly throughout the demonic species of life, they reap only misery. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj also states that by such activities, not only is the combination of material elements of which the body is constructed disturbed, but also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who resides within each one of us. Such unauthorized fasting or austerities for some political end are certainly very disturbing to others. They are not mentioned in the Vedic literature. A demonic person may think that he can force his enemy or other parties to comply with his desire by this method. But sometimes one dies by such fasting. These acts are not approved by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he says that those who engage in them are demons. Such demonstrations are insults to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are enacted in disobedience to the Vedic scriptural injunctions. Here the word achetasaha, which Krishna uses in the first line of the second verse, or the verse number 6, he says Bhut Gramam Achetasaha. Sri Swami Maharaj states that the word achetasaha is significant in this connection. Persons of normal mental condition must obey the scriptural injunctions. Those who are not in such a position neglect and disobey the scriptures and manufacture their own way of austerities and penances. One should always remember the ultimate end of the demonic people as described in the previous chapter. The Lord forces them to take birth in the wombs of demoniac persons. Consequently, they will live by demonic principles, life after life, without knowing their relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is no real benefit in performing austerities which are not as per the scriptural injunctions. We are not only just giving pain to our own body, we are also behaving unfavorably to the Supreme Lord and also giving pain to others. But if by the will of providence, Shri Gurudev states, that such a person receives the association of a pure devotee, they can attain auspiciousness. Example of this are Nal Kuber and Manigriv and Maharaj Surat. So Nal Kuber and Manigriv were the two sons of Kuber, who is the treasurer of the demigods. So therefore, they had so much wealth, and intoxicated by their unlimited wealth and the physical beauty of their demigodly bodies, they were always indulging in sense gratification. So once in a naked state, they were enjoying with young girls in a lake. And Sri Narad Rishi, who is a great devotee of the Lord, happened to come by that place. Seeing sage Narad, the young girls immediately covered themselves and offered obeisances. But Nal Kuver and Manigriv, who were so intoxicated because not only their wealth but they were also intoxicated because they had been drinking, they did not offer obeisances, and instead they were very upset that Naradji has come and this has spoiled all the fun that they were having. Seeing their gross state, seeing that how fallen these two boys had become, they were sons of the demigod Kuber. So they were supposed to act very responsibly, but instead they were displaying such irresponsible behavior. So for their own benefit, Naradji cursed them to become trees. See, when we indulge too much in sense gratification, our consciousness becomes more and more gross, and such people in their next life become trees or stones. This is the most gross level of consciousness called Achadit Chetan, where consciousness is completely covered. So when Nal Kuber and Manigriv, they heard the curse, they came to their senses and then they fell at the lotus feet of Narad Rishi and begged forgiveness. So because they were son of Kuber, Naradji gave them the benediction that they will take birth as trees in Nandagaon, close to Nand Bhavan in Gokul. So they will take birth in Gokul, close to the house of Nand Maharaj. So when Krishna would appear in a later yuga, then he will deliver them. And that's what happened. This is the month of Damodar, when Mother Yashoda bound Krishna with the mortar. Krishna wanted to play with his friends, and friends were also saying, "Oh Krishna, let's go on, let's play." So Krishna then started crawling with this mortar being dragged behind him, and he saw these two Yamalarjun trees, and that time he remembered what his devotee Narad had promised to Nalkuver and Manigriv. Krishna always fulfills the commitment given by his devotees. So, remembering the words of Naradji, he dragged that ukhal, that mortar, between the two trees. So there was not much space. So he crawled on the other side, but the mortar got stuck between the two trees. And as Krishna pulled slightly, both the trees fell down. Huge trees. They fell down, making a roaring sound. And from these two trees came out Nal Kuber and Manigriv. They were looking very effulgent. They prayed to Sri Krishna, offered him obeisances. They did his parikrama, and then by his blessings they were liberated from the curse, and they attained spiritual bodies in the abode of the Lord as Snigdhakant and Madhukant. So they became singers in Krishna's eternal abode. So like this, someone who's performing austerities, who has performed something wrong, because of his wealth or bodily power or status in the society, then they suffer because of that. But if they get the association of a pure devotee, then they can become free from all their sinful activities and sinful mindset and attain the highest auspiciousness by becoming free from the cycle of birth and death. So, in every situation, we should just seek the association of pure devotees, because only by their association we can cleanse our mind, clean our heart, and attain the pure devotion of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Have a very blessed day.